All right, hello. This is going to be the debriefing for Standard 8. And the title is Instructional Strategies. The first part, or the first element of this standard, talked about adapting instruction to student needs. Now, and in bold, it emphasized talking about using innovative strategies and resources for the needs of the individuals and groups of students. So basically, I took some time. Me and Paul took time to break the class down into as many different innovative strategies as we could. The way the class started off is we would do like an instructional type thing where I would say the words, they would imitate it. Then I would get the students to they would have turns at trying to use those words in another sentence. Then once we were done going through the list of words, I would give them a little bit of independent time to study the words. Then once they were comfortable, I would walk around and probe and ask questions, judging if they were ready or not, or trying to get the idea if they were ready or not. When I thought enough time had passed, I instructed them to go to their test desk formations, and then we did a pre-test. And then after the pre-test, we did peer evaluation where they switched and marked each other. And then they were to write their mistakes that they made, and then each student would test each other and help each other study on the mistakes that they made. And this was done for each. We had a list that had 2 pages of of vocabulary words. But with that particular lesson, I didn't have time to get through both lists. And then eventually, at the end of once we're done the both lists, we have a test. But those were the strategies that we went through. That's a big part. The first element is asking you what you did in the lesson, and those were the different strategies that I used, and I think they worked pretty well. The second one was monitoring student learning, and I did this the whole time by, when they were studying together and they were helping each other, I'd be listening, and when they had their independent study time, I would go around and test them and assess how they were progressing. So there's tons of monitoring going on. Also, I could see their scores on the pretest on how well they were actually doing. And then it says the roles in instructional process. The one thing when you're doing a peer evaluation, you have the students, they become the teacher in a sense. I was an instructor by telling them, to move desks and also to have them repeat after me and learn from me. And I helped coach them while they were doing their independent time, their independent study time. I was coming around and helping them with their troubled words and giving them hints. And the last one, not the last one, second last one, engaging students in skill development. Candidate engages student actively in assessing and interpreting, evaluating, and applying information. This part is this is very similar to monitoring student learning. Like varies in, so where we are, engages students. So this was all done with having them just basically repeat after me. What do we say in our notes for? So I had them with the pretest. They were they have to access, interpret, evaluate, and apply. They're a little bit too low a level for applying and evaluating, but they memorized, through rote memorization with copying me while I was instructing them on how to say and spell the words properly. And then interpreting, we had them making new sentences with those words, and that's about as far as we got with the Bloom's taxonomy. But so that's for that element. And the last one, asking questions. Regularly and effectively ask questions to stimulate discussion. I was always trying to get them to think at a higher level and see how far they could speak with making their sentences and applying it to other things that are related to it. This is a really low level class. Like, so to get like a high level discussion is pretty tough to do. Just getting them to be able to, apply that word into a different context and a different sentences, you're not going to go any higher than that. So, and then that was done many times throughout the lesson. So that's how we got everything to fit.
Yeah, and I think just to clarify too, because this was all done following our camp guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lot of words that you had to cover.
Yeah.
Which wasn't your choice, because I'm sure as a teacher you wouldn't force these low-level students to cover this insane amount of words.
Yeah, I think we're doing
24 words, I think.
24 words a day over,
over 2 weeks.
2 weeks, so it's
each day. So a lot of the stuff that we planned out was kind of to tackle that as well, to get around that, because it's obviously not the most efficient way to teach vocabulary, but I think with what you had to do, this was a very good lesson for getting it through.
Yeah, and they've come to like it too. Like when they know what they're doing. When it's pre-test time, I'll probably like 1, 2, 3 switch. They'll go to the pre-test. They'll go to their team desks when they're helping each other, when they're doing their peer evaluation and stuff. So it's we've had a lot of time to practice it, so it's working pretty well. All right, so that's it. Standard 8. Thanks.